You're sitting across from someone you really like. The restaurant is nice, the lighting is perfect. And then you open your mouth and say, "So, do you come here often?"
Oh, no. Oh, William, no.
I know, but here's the thing. Most people don't fail on first dates because they're boring. They fail because nobody taught them what to actually say. And today, we're fixing that.
Okay, before we get into all of that, William, you look slightly frazzled today. What happened?
Frazzled. That's a kind word for it. So, I set 3 alarms this morning. 3! And I slept through all of them.
How is that even possible?
Honestly, I have no idea. My body just decided today was optional. And then I'm rushing. I've got one shoe on. I'm looking for my keys. They were in my hand the entire time, by the way.
Classic.
And I stop at the coffee shop downstairs, right? And the guy in front of me orders the most complicated drink I've ever heard in my life. Oat milk, half calf, no foam, extra shot, vanilla, light ice. I'm standing there thinking, mate, just pick a drink.
Meanwhile, you're just standing there in one shoe energy.
Exactly. Full chaos energy. And the barista? Completely unbothered. Just making the drink like it's totally normal. I respect that, honestly.
That's actual professionalism. My morning was the opposite. I woke up weirdly early, made a proper breakfast, had my coffee while it was still hot.
Stop. You're describing a fantasy.
It was genuinely nice. Though I did nearly pour orange juice into my coffee instead of milk. So,
there it is. The universe restoring balance.
Exactly. Okay, speaking of things going slightly wrong in ways that could have gone much worse.
Oh, I love that transition.
Thank you. I've been working on it. Let's talk about first dates.
Okay, so first dates. Everyone has opinions about first dates, but what's the actual language problem here? Like, what are people saying that's wrong?
Right. So here's the thing most English learners don't realize. The words aren't the problem. The structure of how you talk is the problem.
What do you mean by structure?
So imagine. Actually, don't imagine. Let me just tell you. A lot of learners, and honestly, a lot of native speakers too, treat a first date like a job interview. Question, answer. Question, answer. Where are you from? What do? Do you have siblings?
Oh yeah, the interrogation format.
Exactly. It feels like conversation, but it's not. It's just a checklist. And the other person feels it. It feels exhausting. And here's the native secret. Native speakers don't just ask questions. They share something first, then ask.
Oh, that's actually simple, but I never thought about it that way.
That's the whole point. It's simple, but it changes everything. We call this share and invite. You share a little something about yourself, doesn't have to be deep, and then you invite the other person in.
Share and invite. Got it.
So instead of just asking, do you like traveling? A native speaker might say, I went to Portugal last year and completely fell in love with it. Have you ever been somewhere that just got you like that?
Oh, that's so much better. You gave them something to react to.
Exactly. Share and invite. That's the move.
Okay, so let's actually break this down properly, because first dates, there's so much that can go wrong with the language specifically. Not even the date itself, just the words.
There really is. Let me give you the full picture. There are basically 3 zones of first date conversation. The warm-up zone, the connection zone, and the danger zone.
Ooh, the danger zone. I'm very interested in the danger zone.
Of course you are. But let's start with the warm-up zone, because most people underestimate how important the first 5 minutes are.
Why? What's happening in those first 5 minutes?
You're setting the tone. You're telling the other person, consciously or not, this is what being around me feels like. And if those first 5 minutes are stiff and awkward, you've already given them a bad preview.
So what do you actually say in those first few minutes?
Okay, so the single best thing you can do is acknowledge the situation with light humor or honesty. Something like, I always feel slightly ridiculous at the start of these things. Does it get easier? That immediately makes you human. It says, I'm not here performing, I'm just a person.
And the other person is probably feeling exactly the same thing.
Almost always. So when you name it, you release the tension for both of you. That's a really powerful communication skill, by the way, not just for dates.
What about compliments? Should you lead with a compliment?
careful territory. A compliment can land beautifully or backfire completely depending on how it's delivered. The ones that work are specific and observational, not generic. You look great, fine, but forgettable. But that color really suits you, or I love how you did your hair. That shows you're actually looking at them, not just saying words.
Because it's specific.
Because it's specific. Generic compliments feel rehearsed. Specific ones feel genuine.
Okay, now, the connection zone. How do you actually build connection through conversation?
So this is where share and invite really does the heavy lifting. And the key is that your shares don't need to be important. They just need to be real. Here's an example. A friend of mine, she was on a first date, and instead of asking, "What do you do for fun?" she said, "I started trying to grow herbs on my windowsill, and I've already killed the basil twice. I'm convinced it's personal."
That's brilliant.
The guy laughed, and then he told her he's the same way with plants, and they ended up talking about it for 20 minutes. A tiny, silly detail created this whole connection moment. That's share and invite at work.
So it's not about impressive things, it's about relatable things.
Exactly. People connect through shared imperfection, not shared achievement. That's actually really important culturally, especially in casual British and American conversation. Nobody trusts someone who makes everything sound too perfect.
Okay, now what about deeper topics? When do you go deeper?
You go deeper when the other person leads you there. You don't push the door open, you wait for them to open it, and then you walk through together. If someone says, "I've been through a pretty rough couple of years," you don't immediately ask, "What happened?" That's too direct, too soon. You say something like, "That sounds like it took a lot from you," and then you let them decide how much they want to share.
That's such a good response. It's warm without being nosy.
Right, it's empathy without pressure. And that is honestly one of the most underrated conversational skills in English. Responding to emotion without interrogating it.
Okay, now I need to know about the danger zone. What are the things people say that actually hurt the date?
Okay, so there were a few classic ones. The first, and this is genuinely very common, is over-explaining yourself. Someone asks what you do, and instead of a natural answer, you give this full presentation with background and qualifications and context.
Like a LinkedIn bio out loud.
Exactly like a LinkedIn bio out loud. Nobody asked for the full CV. Keep it light, keep it human. I work in marketing, mostly digital stuff. Honestly, it keeps me busy, which is either a good or bad sign depending on the day.
That's so much better. It's got personality built in.
And that little self-aware addition at the end, which is either a good or bad sign, that's called a soft hedge. You're adding a tiny moment of reflection that makes you sound more real and less rehearsed. Soft hedge, remember that one.
Soft hedge. Okay. What else is in the danger zone?
The second big one, talking about your ex. I know it sounds obvious, but you'd be shocked.
It happens.
It really does. And it doesn't even have to be negative. Even positive mentions of an ex are weird on a first date. My ex used to love this restaurant. Why are you here? What is happening?
Just immediately uncomfortable.
The rule is simple. Your ex does not exist on a first date. They are a ghost. You cannot see them. They are not relevant.
A ghost. I love that. What's the third danger zone thing?
The third one is subtler. It's filling silence with noise. A lot of people, especially when they're nervous, they panic whenever there's a quiet moment and they just start talking about anything, whatever comes into their head.
Oh, I've definitely done that.
Most people have. But here's the truth. A brief, comfortable silence is actually a sign of connection, not failure. If you can sit quietly for 3 seconds without panicking, it shows confidence. It shows you're comfortable. And honestly, sometimes the other person is just thinking of what to say. And if you fill that gap with noise, you've taken that moment from them.
That's such a good point. Silence isn't empty. It's just a pause.
Exactly. Learn to let it breathe. And if you genuinely need to fill a moment, use a soft hedge. I'm actually not sure how to answer that, which probably says something about me. That buys you time and comes across as charming rather than nervous.
Soft hedge saves the day again.
Every single time.
What about the moment when you want to see them again? How do you handle that without being weird or desperate?
Okay, this is important. The way most people do it, so can we do this again sometime? It's fine, but it's a bit passive. It puts all the pressure on the other person to decide in the moment. Native speakers often do something smarter. They reference something from the conversation.
What do you mean?
So if during the date they mentioned they love a certain kind of food, or there's a film they want to see, or a place they talked about, you reference that.
You mentioned you've never tried Ethiopian food. I know a place if you're up for it sometime. That shows you were actually listening, and it makes the next date feel like a natural continuation, not a formal second application.
Oh, that's smooth. That is very smooth.
It really works. And notice if you're up for it sometime, that's low pressure. You're not demanding a decision right now. You're leaving the door open without standing in the doorway.
And that's also a soft hedge, in a way?
Exactly. You're learning.
I'm picking it up. Okay, let's also talk about the stuff people say that's just flat out awkward. Not dangerous, but just clunky.
Oh, there's a long list. The biggest one, answering questions with one word. Someone asks, "Did you have a good week?" And the answer is, "Yeah." Full stop. Done.
Conversation ends immediately.
Dead on arrival. Native speakers almost always extend their answers. So instead of, yeah, actually, I had this one day that completely threw me off, but the rest was good. Now there's something to respond to.
So you're always giving the other person something to grab onto.
That's a great way to put it. You're handing them a thread. And good conversation is basically just two people passing threads back and forth.
All right, let's do some role play. I'll try using these things and you tell me how I'm doing. I'll be the person on the date. Perfect, I'll set the scene each time. Scenario 1, you've just sat down. I say, "So, have you been waiting long?"
Okay, share and invite. No, just a few minutes, though I walked past this place twice before I found it. My sense of direction is genuinely terrible. Do you have good navigation instincts, or are you a fellow chaos person?
Ha, that is so good. That's self-deprecating, it's funny, it invites me in. Perfect, solid start. Yes! Scenario 2, I say, "So, what do you do?"
I'm in project management. Basically, I'm the person who sends the emails nobody wants to read. It keeps me busy, which is either a great sign or a sign I need to rethink my life choices.
Soft hedge, you used it, and you made it funny. That's exactly right. You answered the question, but you gave it texture. Really well done.
Okay, scenario 3.
There's a silence. 3 seconds. Neither of us says anything.
Okay, I feel the panic rising, but I'm gonna breathe through it. I'm actually comfortable enough to not fill that silence, which I think is a good sign. That's actually a brilliant move. You named the silence, turned it into a compliment, and came across confident. That's advanced level stuff. Oh, I'm thriving today.
You really are. Scenario 4. I mentioned that work has been tough lately. I say, "It's just been a lot."
No interrogating. That sounds exhausting. Those kinds of stretches can really wear you down. And then I just let it sit.
Perfect. You gave empathy, no pressure, no follow-up question forcing me to explain. That's exactly the right move. You read the moment.
Scenario 5, end of the date. I want to see you again.
Okay, go.
You mentioned you've never tried proper Neapolitan pizza. I know this place that'll change your mind if you're up for it sometime.
That's it. That's exactly it. You referenced something from the conversation so it proves you were listening. You made it casual with "if you're up for it sometime," no pressure, low stakes. That's the whole approach right there.
I feel ready to go on 100 dates now.
Let's hold off on 100. Start with 1.
Okay, listeners, your turn. We're going to give you a scenario, and you have to figure out which response is better. Think of it like a quiz. Ready?
Scenario 1. Someone asks, "Do you have any hobbies?" Option A. "I like reading." Option B. "Yeah, I've been really into historical fiction lately. There's something about reading about other time periods that kind of puts your own problems in perspective. Do you read at all, or do you prefer other ways to switch off?"
Which one would you say? If you went with option B, you're absolutely right. Option A isn't wrong, it's just a closed door. Option B opens the room.
Scenario 2. You're nervous and there's an awkward moment at the start. Do you... Option A. Start talking about traffic or the weather to fill the space. Option B. Say, "I always find the first 5 minutes of these things a bit funny." Does it ever feel that way to you?
Option B, right? Because you're being honest about the shared experience. You're naming it. Option A just adds noise without connecting you.
Scenario 3. The date is going well and they mention a book they love. Do you... Option A. Make a mental note and move on to the next topic. Option B. Near the end of the date, say, "You should send me a picture of the cover. I'd actually be interested to read that."
Option B, and notice what that does. It's a natural reason to exchange numbers. It's not, "Can I get your number?" It's an organic moment that makes the exchange feel easy and purposeful.
That's the share and invite working all the way to the end of the date.
Beautiful.
All right, let's bring it all together. 3 phrases from today that you absolutely want in your toolkit.
Number 1, share and invite. Don't just ask questions. Share something small first, then invite the other person in. We saw it when talking about travel, food, hobbies. Works every single time.
Number 2, soft hedge. Add a tiny, honest qualifier to your answers to make them sound natural and human, which is either a good or bad sign. I'm not entirely sure, which probably says something. It removes the stiffness instantly.
And number 3, empathy without pressure. When someone shares something emotional, respond to the feeling, not with a question, not with advice, just with a warm acknowledgement. That sounds like it took a lot out of you. And then let them lead.
These 3 things, share and invite, soft hedge, empathy without pressure, they work on first dates. But honestly, they work in every conversation. Job interviews, friendships, meeting someone new at a party. They're just good human communication.
Which is what this whole channel is about, honestly. It's not just English. It's how English-speaking people actually connect.
Exactly right.
And look, if you've been taking notes, here's the simplest version. Stop trying to impress people. Start trying to include them. And that's the whole secret to good first date conversation.
That's actually a really good line, William.
I have my moments.
You do.
One final thing before we go. If you're learning English and you've ever frozen up mid-conversation because you couldn't find the perfect words, I want you to know that native speakers are not waiting for perfect. They're waiting for real. Real always wins. Always. Every single time. All right, that's a wrap on first dates. Go out there, share something small, leave the silences breathing. And remember, the goal isn't a perfect date. The goal is a real conversation.
And if it goes sideways, that's just a good story for next time.
The best ones always do. See you next time.
Don't worry about mistakes. Just keep talking with William and Olivia. See ya!
Don't worry about mistakes. Just keep talking with William and Olivia.
See ya!